the Nunu and Willem game that we saw, which was, again, still questionable. We've been seeing the Heimerdinger being banned, but we've also been seeing the Syndra come out, and I've been thinking, why not pick Syndra into Heimerdinger? Stop banning that. Just throw the turrets on top of each other and then push back in, because after that, he doesn't have anything.
Very true, but we're still going to see what they're banning at, and we see the Nico ban coming out
You
from...
banned your own champion?
Yeah, well, it looks like they've banned their own champion. Looks like we don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're scared that the first pick's not going to come in. Maybe they don't think they can switch. Looks like the Xerath has been banned out. They saw how oppressive that was in the previous game.
Yeah, it's not quite easy to juke Xerath ults, especially without boots in the first in the first part of the game, and we have no backs, so it's going to be pretty much impossible to get those until someone decides to pick up an inspiration and it gets to that point where you get boots.
Looks like we've got the Orianna ban coming out from blue side and the Pantheon ban coming out from red side, both champions that we have seen being played, and the final ban being Lux. Surprised we haven't seen more of Lux. Very strong with her CC, shielding ability pretty overpowered, insane poke, and her ultimate is a pretty good nuke.
I feel like, from what we've been seeing so far, what Lux does, Orianna does better, simply because of the buffs that they've given her recently. But, oh gosh, I think it's... I'm a little bit disappointed that they banned Orianna. I mean, their first pick, they could have taken it themselves. We've only seen her once, but we can see just how...
Maybe not too confident on the champion. We do see the Morgana ban coming out for Team 2. Very strong champion in the 2v2s. All it takes is a bind, and then you can go make yourself a cup of tea and come back by the time you're unrooted. Looks like we've got the Vel'Koz pick on Team 1, looking for that poke, looking for that true damage to come out. And Team 2 looking to cheese it with the Blitzcrank. They are looking for that big early game fight. They're probably not going to look to go past level 4.
Blitzcrank got his Q buffed.
Draven! We're looking in for a pro bot lane here, trying to get for the damage. Looks like Team 1 are going to answer back with maybe a misfortune, try to get that extra damage in with Make It Rain. The Q to get the poke bounce off the minions. A lot of damage can come out of that, but it's extremely immobile. Both Vel'Koz and Misfortune only have a flash to escape from the Blitzcrank. And Draven is going to be stacking that AD, looking to walk in and just hit them with the axe.
Okay, I'm excited. This is the closest thing in terms of comps at the moment that we're seeing that's as close to duo partners as possible. We're seeing the Blitzcrank, who by the way had his Q buffed, so he now has extra range, which if Team 1 didn't realize that, they are going to have to watch out, because if they don't know, they're going to be dead real quick. Vel'Koz, Misfortune, Blitzcrank, Draven, these are normal picks that we see in the bot lane, so it's going to be really competitive this time. 2 heals coming out from Team 1. We should have seen a heal come out on the other team as well in the last game. Probably with that heal, that Veigar would have been saved. It's nice to see that people are learning lessons as we go, making these tournaments a lot more competitive.
Well, we're still waiting before the final seconds to see what the final lock-in for the summoner spells are going to be. Interestingly, Misfortune does not have a flash. She has opted for the exhaust. No, last minute switch to the flash. I think we got baited.
There we go. I mean, this is League of Legends. Everyone gets baited, from the teams, the trolls, to the,
So the exhaust is very interesting, because if you do get hooked in, you could just exhaust a Draven and then you're going to be fine. Problem is, you need to dish out damage to get that trade to be worth it. Otherwise, you would have just wasted the summoner spell for nothing, and the Blitzcrank is just going to wait for his cooldown to come back up before hooking you back in, and then you no longer have an exhaust to win that fight.
But again, the CC on Team 1 isn't as reliable as you might want it to be. Of course, Vel'Koz does have his knockup, but he has to wait for a second. So relying on that exhaust, or even worse, relying on the Blitzcrank to hook you for that exhaust to come out, it's not the greatest tactic that I've seen, dying for a double kill. That might not happen, but maybe they're thinking of something else. Maybe we're going along the wrong lines.
I'm very interested to see how they're going to play this Draven in the lane. Very strong hero, willing to trade and get that extra damage out. Very aggressive, paired with an aggressive Blitzcrank as well, is going to be amazing for them. But now we need to see, is Misfortune going to be able to put in the Make It Rain to slow down the Draven, to prevent his follow-up on the Blitzcrank hook? Are we going to see Vel'Koz standing in the back, waiting to hit the knockup, get the true damage in? Burst is very strong on Team 1's side, but Team 2 have a hyper-aggressive catch potential, which is on a 12-second cooldown on the hook.
Team 1 definitely does have the suppressive push power, but again, with the Blitzcrank on that team, if he's able to hook somebody into tower and they will be in that position, then it could be a quick death for 1 or 2 people.
So let's talk about masteries. Vel'Koz probably looking to bring out maybe Summon Aerie to get the guaranteed damage, or Comet to get that extra damage. Don't think we're going to be seeing anything else. Misfortune, very interesting. Might go for Dark Harvest to get that extra damage, but won't be able to stack it up quite a lot in lane. Maybe going to get an extra 10 damage from it. Might go for the Press the Attack to guarantee the damage after 3 autos. Blitzcrank, most likely going to go for an Aftershock to be extra tanky after a hit, and to be able to dish out damage when it blows up. And Draven, not too sure. Might be seeing Conqueror, maybe want to stack that early AD when they go for the skirmish. Only needs to hit 5 autos for it to stack up, then it's free AD, and Draven players love their AD.
I think I want to see Draven pick up a lethal tempo, or maybe a Hail of Blades if he's able to do that, because once Blitzcrank does pull somebody in, assuming he doesn't hit minions of course, there is only a certain amount of time that Draven has to deal as much damage as possible if he doesn't end up killing them. And with a lethal tempo being able to increase your attack damage, which is the majority of his kit, if he's able to pick that up, then he could very easily take down 70 to 80% of either player's health.
And very interesting to see what items they're going to be going for first. Vel'Koz most likely going to go for the Lost Chapter. Very strong pick. Quick Mana Burst, very strong. Misfortune might be looking to get Serrated Dirk to get that early lethality to negate any of the armor that the other team might have been buying. Draven might also go down that spicy route of getting the Serrated Dirk, or he might just see the straight BF, or just a standard ARAM item that is very strong because it gives both AD and lifesteal.
There is a very common conception when it comes to Draven where if you take a BF sword, then it tends to be GG, just because of how much he's able to heal off of that item. But it is quite expensive, so I don't think we'll be seeing that before the game ends. But of course, if it does, then Team 1 would probably have been doing something wrong just by giving them the space to get that amount of gold.
Well, looks like the items have been Lost Chapter onto the Blitzcrank and the Vel'Koz, whereas Misfortune has opted for the AP route to get the Let It Rain extra damage, and Draven has gone for the standard ARAM item. And if we look at the masteries, we do have Arcane Comet on both of Team 1, whereas Team 2 have opted for the Aftershock on the Blitzcrank. Very smart choice, and also a Press the Attack on the Draven. Not too convinced on that one.
Already they're looking for blood. Poke is being put out onto Draven, but it doesn't look like too much is going to come out of it. He's going to be able to heal that up pretty quickly.
Looks like we've gone for the trade, and the first hook misses now. Draven is out of position, trying to dodge.
Oh, Draven!
Flash out and gets hit by the Comet. Poked out, wastes the flash. Level 4.
You're going to have your life taken if you're not careful. You're pretty lucky that the Blitzcrank isn't on the other team, I'll tell you that.
Now Vel'Koz just putting the pressure with his Q. Very annoying to dodge. You've got to be an expert in trigonometry to get rid of it. And now looks like they're just getting pushed back. He gets knocked up. Heal comes in. Looks like the Blitzcrank going for the hook, hitting a minion, not finding the target he wants.
I think at the moment, Draven is beginning to learn his lesson that he can't stand still when he's trying to pick up the axes. Now he's trying to, well, yes, he's trying to pick up the axes, but it looks like Blitzcrank is almost getting in the way. He very nearly missed those, and he would have been resetting his stats. It would not have been a good day.
Well, but Draven is very right now. Won't be able to get hit. Blitzcrank flashing, missing the hook. First blood onto the Draven from the ricochet on the Q from Misfortune. And looks like it's going to be a very unfavorable position for Team 2. Blitzcrank missing his hook after the flash, and Team 1 just punishing with the extra range that they have. AP Misfortune, extremely oppressive with the Make It Rain, does a lot of damage. Very big slow, meaning that the Draven won't be able to...
he's channeling what? What? Okay, I mean, I was expecting something to come out of that, but that was a little bit.
Level 6 has been hit and looks like they're going to be poked out. Blitzcrank pops his passive, keeping him alive, but critically Misfortune still has it, so Misfortune can, if she's feeling lucky, just flash and ult. Looks like Draven is going for that kill, walking forward, gets exhausted, trying to get the damage out, not enough.
Blitzcrank is still here without any health pots or health node. Oh no, he does have a health node, so he will be staying on the map for a little bit longer but they do have more minions than Team 2. It's not going to be easy for him to land a
Well,
Q
looks
at
like
all. But
Draven
he's
has
looking
dropped
for
his
one.
axe. They've been on position. Looks like the hooks come in, connected onto the Misfortune.
Hook is good, but the
comes
damage
in.
is better.
Ignite ticking away on the Misfortune. She's probably going to stay alive on this one.
Oh my!
And now looks like Draven
tilted.
is walking into the minion wave, going to get knocked up again. Now that both teams are waiting. Looks like Blitzcrank flashing forwards, very low, getting hit by the Q. Looks like Vel'Koz being extremely oppressive right now. Draven trying to get the axes.
They don't know she's here.
Forwards. Looks like Misfortune might have overstepped. No, not yet.
At the moment, they have two very low players. They can't back, so I don't really know what they're going to do at this point. I mean, sure, Blitzcrank has got his resolve, meaning he's going to be a little bit tankier than he seems, but he's not building that way at the same time, and Draven has pretty much
Draven
Nirvana.
pressing, walking forward, trying to get that extra damage. Missed the hook,
Oh,
missed the
come
axe,
on.
dropped the axe, critically missing the axe and not getting in, and the extra damage comes in for the true damage, and that is GG. Team 1 wins with the 2 kills. Very sad to see that Draven dropped that axe at the end, otherwise I think that was an easy double kill with the extra AD that he would have been dishing out from his axes. Very unlucky to see. Pressed attack had been procced on the Vel'Koz, probably would have died from just one auto with the axe and Misfortune close to follow, but sadly the axe was dropped and that was not the case.
I mean, I was expecting it to be a lot closer than it was before. The number of hooks that Blitzcrank missed was their downfall. I mean, if he hit that hook on the last one, or hell, any hook, it would have been a lot better for them. Maybe they would have gotten the second kill of the game and they would have been even again.
Well, with that win, we've got Team 1 moving on to the semi-finals of the bracket.